Look at this 1984 election map. Out of 533 seats, one party secured 415, an absolute mandate granting total control over the national legislature. 30 years later, that dominance shatters. In 2014, the same party was decimated, securing just 44 seats nationwide. This collapse happened to the very institution that birthed modern India. The Indian National Congress led the mass movement that finally forced the British exit and secured the nation's independence. In the 17 general elections following that independence, they won an outright majority 7 times. For more than 54 years, the Indian National Congress effectively operated as the default setting of the central government. To understand how power operates in the world's largest democracy today, we have to look closely at the rise, the fracture, and the current state of what political scientists call the Congress system. In 1885, the party began as a small, polite reform club. Its founders were mostly British-educated elites pushing for minor administrative reforms and a slightly larger voice within the framework of the British Empire. By 1915, under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, that exclusive club mutated into an aggressive mass movement. They absorbed a massive, contrasting ocean of people: Hindus, Muslims, rural farmers, urban elites, socialists, and traditional conservatives. By sheltering all these competing factions under one political roof, they created a massive umbrella coalition. This big tent strategy provided the overwhelming numbers necessary to secure full sovereignty in 1947. Once in power, the party's first prime minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, consolidated that broad coalition into absolute electoral dominance. He built the infrastructure of the modern Indian state by establishing the Planning Commission for 5-year economic plans, enforcing a secular government, and implementing a mixed economy with heavy state investment in steel, iron, and power. Because the organization absorbed and managed nearly every major political faction internally, the party and the state became virtually indistinguishable. The Congress system had reached its peak. When Nehru-Gandhi took control of the party in the late 1960s, she pushed it sharply to the political left, aggressively centralizing power by nationalizing 14 of the country's largest private banks. Her drive to centralize authority alienated senior leadership. By 1969, the growing friction caused a massive internal split, severing the party into competing factions and testing her grip on the government. This concentration of authority eventually culminated in the declaration of a state of emergency from 1975 to 1977. During this 19-month window, democratic norms collapsed, civil liberties were suspended, and political opponents were jailed en masse. The original culture of internal debate and consensus gave way to dynasticism. Progression within the ranks now required absolute loyalty to the Nehru-Gandhi family, rather than regional popularity or independent political strength. By stripping away autonomous local leaders and replacing them with top-down family control, the organization systematically weakened its own grassroots immune system. Facing a severe balance of payments crisis in 1991, Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao abandoned the party's foundational socialist principles. To survive, his administration dismantled restrictive state controls and opened the country to global markets. Moving into the 2000s under Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, the party adapted again. To counter the rise of strong regional competitors, they built the United Progressive Alliance, a massive multi-party coalition government. This new coalition successfully passed major social welfare and rural employment guarantees. However, those achievements were entirely eclipsed by a wave of government corruption cases, particularly the massive telecom spectrum and coal allocation scandals. The organization had executed drastic ideological pivots to maintain its grip on power, but the steady accumulation of scandals and deep anti-incumbency sentiment slowly, fatally eroded the public's trust. That erosion culminated in the crushing electoral defeats of 2014 and 2019 under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi. The party's vote share dipped below 20%. Between 2014 and 2021, over 170 elected members of parliament and state legislators defected to competing factions, draining the party of its established talent. The old, highly flexible big tent strategy was simply unable to compete against the Bharatiya Janata Party. Led by Narendra Modi, the BJP deployed a highly unified, ideologically driven electoral machine that easily outperformed the fractured older coalition. Yet, in the 2024 general elections, the party engineered a strategic rebound. By helping form the broad India Opposition Alliance, they secured 99 seats, heavily cutting into their rivals' margins. For the first time in a decade, they reclaimed the role of the official opposition in parliament, guided by Mallikarjun Kharge, a president chosen entirely outside the Nehru-Gandhi family lineage. Political gravity catches up with every institution. Leading a historical fight for independence does not replace the need for a coherent modern vision. To survive the 21st century, India's oldest political machine now has to figure out exactly how to pitch an entirely new tent.